Okay, everybody, this is a slight modification from what I intended to have as my second recording here. I've had a few questions on Facebook, comments like that, kind of, to do with what my situation is. So I thought I'd put out a little quick video here. Instead of being part two, it's part 1.5. At the end of the video, the last video and this one too, there's a couple of videos on the end caps. They'll explain the interviews, explain a little bit about my situation, but I'll go ahead and go through a little bit of it here just so everybody that's listening that doesn't see the videos knows what's going on. I got caught up in a layoff just as the recession hit in 2009, and I was 63 and had some circumstances where I couldn't really move out of the small town I lived in at the time. So I didn't have any luck finding a new job. And about a year and a half later, I wound up retiring. Went on Social Security. My wife was 59 at the time, 58 maybe. And I just decided to go for the retirement and did that. And we were doing all right. I went on Medicare, but she couldn't get on Medicare. And our Cobra insurance ran out in 2010, and we couldn't get insurance. She had a couple of little medical issues, rapid heartbeat, and couldn't get insurance without just costing an arm and a leg. So we gambled and lost about 3 or 4 months after the insurance ran out. My wife, her name was Sandy, came down with leukemia, AML, worst kind of leukemia, as far as I know. And she was in the hospital for 3.5 months. Went through several rounds of chemo. Actually, we wound up at the very tail end of it. We wound up on the pre-existing insurance that Obamacare had just made available within that last month. We got her on that, and she actually got put on the list to have a bone marrow transplant. But on her 60th birthday, she had a stroke, and 5 days later, she died of a brain aneurysm. My mother was 95 at the time and had had a stroke, so I moved to Duncan, where she lived, where I grew up. Took care of her, and 8 months later, she died. And I just fell apart. I literally became a hermit for about 5 years. Had a couple of friends that lived in Oklahoma City, and I'd go visit them. But as soon as I got back to Duncan, I just crawled in the hole and stayed there. Stayed there about 5 years and piddled on the internet, had some internet friends. I like to play online poker, and one of the players is a Canadian friend of mine, Clay, and he has a Thai wife, lives in Canada, and he kept telling me I needed to get out and go see the world or something to get out of my hole that I was in. I didn't see any chance in hell of that happening, but it got me interested in Thailand. And I grew up during the Vietnam War era. Several of my friends went there. Some died there. Several of them came back and had spent R&R in Thailand or Japan or the Philippines, generally those three. But the ones who went to Thailand just told me over and over and over that if I ever got the chance to go to Thailand, it's just beautiful country, wonderful people, pretty girls, of course. And, you know, I'd heard that all my life, but life, got in the way. I got married, never did, do any overseas trips. So I was about 6 years in, about that time, after Sandy and Mom had died. I started looking at some videos and all, and I ran into Simon's channel. The link's provided down below. And I got to watching it, and I got to making comments, and wound up emailing Simon back and forth, and even got involved in that one story, the Drowning Love story, and still working on the book. If anybody's interested, I'm still working on the book. I'm shooting for Christmas. I don't know if I'll make it. But he was encouraging me then. So I had him encouraging me, had Clay encouraging me, had several subscribers encouraging me, everybody trying to get me to come over to Thailand. And I just thought, I'm 72 years old. That's not going to happen. I've never even been out of the United States. So that I knew that wasn't going to happen. But a lot of the cards just kind of fell in place. And all of a sudden, I saw the opportunity to actually make the trip, which I did. And I went in May of this year, Originally, I intended to go for 2 weeks, and everybody said I was crazy to do that, but go at least for a month. And I wound up going for 5 weeks and went over there, and I spent a few days in Pattaya starting off. Then I went over to Wahin and met Johnny over there and spent a few days there. And then I went up to Simon's and I spent, I don't know, a week or 10 days there. And before you knew it, my 5 weeks was coming to an end. I decided I'd go back to Pattaya and spend a couple of days. I had to get a visa extension. The visa is only good for 30 days, so I had to get the visa extension. Got it. And there'll be a little bit, I'll talk about that in another video. But the visa extension was good for 30 days, and I thought, well, kind of hate to waste it. So I wound up actually extending my stay another 2 weeks. So I wound up spending 7 weeks over there. So I spent a few days in Pattaya again, or Pattaya, as I understand is the way you pronounce it, but I say Pattaya. Anyway, I went back to Simon's, stayed over there. I met so many people over there you cannot believe. It just was incredible, the people that I met over there, and part of my tips is going to have to do with that. So I'll get into that later. But I literally would be out on the street walking and or sitting in a restaurant or whatever, and had people come up to me and introduce themselves and say, "Hey, Ron, Simon, I watched this video and he said you were going to be around here. I've been looking for you." It's a crazy experience whenever that happens. But I had one person literally stop the bot bus, get off the bot bus, and come over and introduce himself. And we actually went out and went around Pattaya together. It's just a really strange experience. And so this is why I feel somewhat qualified to be able to make a video about giving tips about first time visitors to Thailand, because that's what I was and still am. I'm no expert by any means. Don't take my word for anything. Investigate it on your own. But anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that I really do have somewhat of a qualification for making these videos. That again, I'm no expert by any means. And if I say something and it's incorrect, please bring it up in the comments and I'll correct it in the next video. But I'll let go at this point. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow I'll have out part 2. I just wanted to kind of let everybody know what my situation was, what it is. So here it is. So y'all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.